Welcome back to another SJHL season preview on sjhl.ca. My name's Jeromy Corrigan, the new media manager for the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, and this season preview is brought to you by the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. Now, we are pleased to be joined today by the head coach and general manager of the Battlefords North Stars, Brayden Klimosko. Brayden, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. How's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Obviously, it's a busy time for all the coaches in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League getting ready for this upcoming season. But before we get into this season, maybe let's talk a little bit about last season. A pretty successful year for your hockey club, finishing fourth in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, but then a really tough series in that first round against Flin Flon, a tough 6-game loss. But when you look back at last season for your squad, what do you kind of take away from last year?
Yeah, I think there's lots to take away. We gained a lot of experience. We had, a lot of guys that were new to junior hockey, and we were successful, in midget and whatever else. And without having a season the year before, it was the first 19-year-olds' first crack at what the SJHL is all about. So, maybe a little bit of a surprise to most. I wasn't quite as surprised as other that I knew what these kids were kind of, what their character is and what they kind of were like in midget and whatever else. So I knew we were going to have a pretty, team. And, for the most part, we competed most nights, which was always, that's all you really ask for as a coach. So it was a good year. And obviously, look, to this year and, expectations, haven't changed here. I think we're expecting bigger and better things this year.
Now, for the second year in a row, you were named Coach of the Year in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Maybe just walk me through, what it was like when you found out that you were named Coach of the Year and what it meant for yourself.
Yeah, I was obviously really surprised. I thought there was a lot of coaches that had really good years, especially Barnes and at the top there. I thought both of them were equally as deserving. I thought, it came to a real shocker to me. And I think overall that feel pretty good about yourself because, your peers are the ones that are voting on it. So it was obviously, it was pretty humbling to get named that. And, obviously it's not what you call coaches to get an award like that, but obviously it's nice to get recognized.
Now, obviously, the offseason has kind of come and gone. You guys are getting ready for the season, but how has the offseason been for yourself, wearing your general manager hat and kind of building your roster for this upcoming season?
Good. Yeah, I think it's been a good offseason. I think we're excited about some of our young guys, and I'm really excited that we haven't lost anyone either. I think with, the way hockey is now, you almost expect one or two guys per year to hang them up or go to a different league or whatever else. And for us to have everyone coming back is pretty exciting, personally, and shows, what our team, thinks what we're getting ourselves into for the years, having a good, solid team that likes being around each other and for everyone to want to come back again, that's always exciting. And I know the boys are amped up and ready to go. And I guess the one thing that, I did notice this year was the offseason was longer than normal. I think you definitely don't want to be done in early March. That's too long to be sitting around and thinking about your next season. So, your goal is obviously to be playing into May, like, the Tartses and the Reagans of the world. So that's obviously our goal this year.
Now, this offseason, you guys did make some news as you announced kind of your captain for the upcoming season, and that being Jake Southgate, captain for the Battlefords North Stars for the 2022-2023 season. A returning player, one of your leading scorers, and he's from Battleford. It probably wasn't too tough a decision for captaincy this year, hey?
Yeah, you know what? And normally I would never announce it as early as what we did, but we had exit meetings with everyone at the end of the year, and it was unanimous that I asked him who our captain should be, and everyone said Jake. Once we knew that, like why hide it from anyone, and he's been a great leader for last 2 years, and I think he's just gonna even build off that role. This year he's a guy that everyone looks up to on and off the ice, and obviously with him being a Battleford kid, it obviously makes it even a lot more cooler that way.
For sure. Now, you mentioned you're going to have a good core coming back from last year's team that finished fourth in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League into this year. But maybe for the fans across the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, who are some players on your team that you think maybe they should keep an eye out for that might be taking some big steps this year?
Yeah, I the one thing I always like is I don't really project to where guys are going to be, because the summer is such a time of year where guys are going to improve. Some guys are going to improve. Some guys that do nothing really fall behind. I think that a couple guys that had a good end of the season. I'm looking at a guy like Colby Bear or Bradley Blake that you're hoping that we're closer to a point per game in February. And obviously we lose some great leaders in McNinch and Esau and Witt and Little and Primac and obviously our goaltenders. So there is some leadership roles that I'm hoping some of these guys that have at least 1 year of experience underneath their belt, they can take it and run it with it as well. I really like our rookie, some of our rookies that we signed. A guy like Jackson Allen, I think is going to be a really good player in our league. A couple of our 17-year-olds, a local here, Ryan Taylor, I think will fit right in nicely, and a couple others. So I think we're going to be really strong, and I really hope some of those young guys push our older guys. And some guys don't like getting pushed, but it's really healthy in a room and on a team that guys are going to be getting pushed day in, day out, for jobs and opportunities.
Now, when you look at the 2022-2023 edition of the Battlefords North Stars, and you look at your roster and where things are kind of shaking up, where do you see the strength of this hockey team?
It's a really good question. I think our strength is probably our depth. I think we've got a lot of guys that can play, 1 to 4 on forward and 1 to 6 on the back end. I think the one thing, if there's one thing that we are lacking is there going to be a couple guys that step up, guys that step up into major roles that could potentially lead the league in scoring and when the games get tough, or we're going to lean heavily on. So I think that's the big thing for us now is finding those guys that are willing, that are willing to step up and really contribute on a day-to-day basis.
Now, you've kind of already alluded to it, but finally, obviously, it sounds like you guys have some pretty high expectations this year in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League for your club after, finishing fourth and everything that you're kind of building. What do you expect from this team this year?
Yeah, I expect us to be, competing, for a title like we want to every year. I think if you go on here and say, let's really try and make the playoffs, you're leaving your team short. At the end of the day, that's all we play for is to win a championship. And that's what that's what we get paid to do. And that's what we're trying to do every day. So, I think it'd be wrong for us to have any expectations on anything less than that. So that's obviously our goal, and that's our plan, for the season.
Well, Brayden, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck this regular season.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, that's head coach and general manager of the Battleford North Stars, Brayden Klimosko. And the North Stars will start their season on Friday, September 16th, down in Kindersley against the Kindersley Clippers. And then they'll play the second half of their home and home on Saturday, September 17th, against Kindersley at home.